Hello, my name is Kristen Milligan, and I am the Associate Director of the Learning Center at East Central College. I will present the first workshop in a series called STAR Workshops, which focus on skill sets that will help you be successful in college. This workshop is called Accountability. Take control of your learning. To help us focus our attention on the topic at hand, I want to ask a priming question. How can you hold someone accountable? You can pause the video here for time to jot down some answers. Some ways that you can hold others accountable are to give someone reminders, have a serious conversation with them about your concerns, or bring in a mutual friend for support. It's important to remember that the success of accountability will depend on the person and their motivation. Now, let's look at some scenarios and think of ways that the individuals could be held accountable in their academics. Please feel free to pause the video at any time during the presentation to write down any ideas and answers you may have. The first scenario deals with a student named Todd and his time management skills. Scenario 1. Todd is taking 15 credit hours this semester and he feels good about it. Most of his classes are introductory courses, so he already knows they'll be easy. He's already planned to do all of his homework on Saturdays, so he'll be free to work every other day of the week, and the days he doesn't work, he can hang out with his friends. What do you think Todd's struggles will be? How do you know? What strategies can Todd use to be prepared to meet all of the demands on his time? Let's take a look at possible answers for the first question. What do you think Todd's struggles will be? How do you know? Todd will never be able to accomplish all of his homework in one day. His motivation may be low, he may be sick, something comes up, etc. On average, you should dedicate 2 to 3 hours for each credit hour you're taking. That's 45 hours a week just for Todd's schoolwork. Now, let's turn to the second question. It asks us to think of specific examples of accountability. What strategies can Todd use to be prepared to meet all of the demands of his time? Todd should create a mode of organization and stick to it, such as keep a calendar of due dates and activities. Make sure to balance work with school and his social life. Find an accountability partner. Join a study group. Adjust his schedule accordingly. I want to make an important point here. Just like we discussed at the beginning of the presentation about how successful accountability techniques are dependent upon the individual, so are organizational strategies. Sometimes we have to change up our approach to be successful. Let's look at another scenario. This one follows Bridget, a student who is using past experiences to gauge how easy learning in college will be. Scenario 2. Bridget is positive that college is going to be a breeze. She received high grades in high school, and she knows that she won't have to take notes because she learns best by listening. She plans on just attending class and soaking up what's shared. What do you predict will happen with Bridget's learning? How do you know? What is a better mindset for Bridget to embody? Why? Do you think Bridget's outlook is accurate? Let's take a look at the scenario questions. What do you predict will happen with Bridget's learning? How do you know? She'll miss quite a lot. Note-taking helps us to remember information while teaching us how to prioritize it. She won't be prepared to study for exams or to add to discussion because she has only her memory to guide her. In college, there is quite a bit more information to cover than in high school, and there is the expectation of self-initiation. You should expect to do more work than just what is discussed in class time. Let's look at the second question for this scenario. What is a better mindset for Bridget to embody? Why? She should be open to trying new ways of learning by taking notes, attending group study, using practice tests, looking over class material every day, and so on. She should do this to get as much as she can out of the class that she's paying for, and so she can better understand the material so her degree-specific courses are easier. Let's look at one more scenario about Cole, an indecisive student. Scenario 3. Cole started college with a set major and excitement about his chosen field. Now, it's close to the middle of his first semester and he's not doing well in his classes. He's thinking about changing majors to try and find easier classes. He's just not sure what to do at this point. Would it be reasonable for Cole to switch his major? Why? What types of resources would Cole benefit from? How do you know? The first question asks us to think about long-term consequences. So no, he would have possibly wasted a semester of learning, prolonging his time in college. He should instead plug into resources that are available to him. It's also important for Cole to realize that regardless of the content of a course, it may still challenge him, and it should. It's important to remember for ourselves as well that challenging coursework is a good thing. We can't learn if we aren't faced with new material. The second question asks us to examine a different way to look at the situation. What types of resources would Cole benefit from? How do you know? Some resources would be tutoring, talking with his professor, attending study group sessions, reviewing class material regularly, and talking with his classmates. Now, I am going to ask a couple of reflection questions. Please don't forget that you're more than welcome to pause the video to take time and think about these questions. Why is accountability so important in academics? How can you measure accountability? Accountability is important in academics because it creates a support system of success and helps guide us in making sound decisions. We also don't feel alone when things are stressful or overwhelming. Let's look at the second question now. How can you measure accountability? Dividing work into quantitative measurements, for example, spending 2 hours a day doing homework and recording it, taking one 10-minute break every 30 minutes, or the like. Keeping track of assignments in a calendar, writing down all due dates and responsibilities. Now here's where accountability gets hard. What about you? In what ways do you need to be held accountable? Overall, accountability takes work, whether you're holding yourself or someone else accountable. In the Learning Center's Moodle page, we have an accountability worksheet that has a few self-reflective questions on it. I encourage you to take a few minutes and fill it out. I also wanted to let you know that this handout also lets you rate your own experiences with the other topics in our workshop series, such as motivation. Ideally, you would come to all of the workshop offerings, but that may not be plausible for you. This Likert scale can help you pinpoint which workshops you may benefit the most from if attended. It also includes the full schedule of the remaining workshops. Here's an example of where workshop material is stored. If you look under the embedded video, there is a link to download a handout. This will be true of all of the STAR workshop videos that contain handouts or activities.